I've met so many young Africans just like me chasing opportunities since I moved to Germany. We all share the same dream, to go back home and invest in our country's future. At the same time, other members of Africa's diaspora are stepping foot on the continent for the very first time in generations. In this special edition of the 77%, we explore the journeys of young people from the diaspora who have made their way back to their ancestral homeland. Our big question for them is, what does it truly mean to come home? Hello and welcome to the show. Coming up on the program, we find out why Kenya is a new destination for African Americans looking for a fresh start. In our street debate, we discuss what impact Afro-Americans are having on Ghana's economy. And finally, we meet a filmmaker who has come home to transform Sierra Leone's image. A growing number of Black Americans are seeking new homes abroad, with Kenya quickly becoming a go-to destination. Our colleague Alexandria is a Black American herself. In her report from Nairobi, she seeks out other Afro-Americans to find out why they have grown weary of life in the West.
We're at one of Nairobi's busiest intersections, Tubman Road, named after one of the most famous Black Americans in history. From street signs to matatus, there are images of Black Americans like me all over Kenya. But despite our cultural presence, few people seem to know about who we are and where we come from. What do you know about Black Americans?
Black American.
Yeah.
The most thing we get about Black Americans is that they are violent and oppressed, maybe.
After telling him that I was African American, he seemed to change his opinion.
They are more progressive and they are more informed than us. Them coming here would be another advantage for us, I'll say that.
The mixed messaging made me eager to know more. Are Black people from the Americas like me truly welcome here? Do Kenyans know we exist outside of pictures? To explore these questions, I met with Vanessa. She arrived in Nairobi a few months ago with Noah, her 4-year-old son. After traveling the world together, they're now adjusting to life in their luxury apartment.
I cry a lot, if I'm honest with you. I miss my community, but also I know it's going to take time to adapt and to build my new community, but I know it's going to happen eventually.
Back in Canada, where she grew up, Vanessa ran a successful business and was, by all appearances, living the dream. But she says that dream had limits.
I was just drained. And when you drain, you need to go back and take care of your kid and cook and clean on top of that. It's too much for the average mom to do that.
Her daily schedule now includes homeschooling Noah. After, she leaves him with her nanny, which frees up her time to work on her travel relocation business and create content with her videographer, Hans.
I never thought I'd meet like a Black person here in Kenya and a foreigner in Kenya and make me see the world in a different way.
There are more people like Vanessa and I coming to Kenya. That's according to Kia Wakesho, who runs an African-American relocation business. She offers a fresh start for those who are able to afford it.
We've gotten a lot of retirees and people who've owned businesses in the States and have sold their businesses, and so they're living off their residual income.
Kia's services start at 14,500 euros, nearly a quarter of what the average American takes home yearly.
The wealth is in the difference. And so when we're bringing people to Kenya, we're educating them, we're integrating them versus repatriating, because you're not repatriating to Kenya, you're not Kenyan, you're American.
Kia's employee, Terry, addresses the concerns that many local young people have about the impact of these newcomers on jobs and opportunities.
Many of the youths in Kenya don't have work as of the moment. You might feel that when the African Americans are coming here, they're gonna take your job. But currently, most people are like, just come. If you're in a position maybe to do an investment, get some Kenyans to work for you.
Kia's company is optimistic about fostering deeper connections. To accommodate this, they are hoping to build a 100-unit real estate development for African-American families in Kalimanbogo, located a 2-hour drive from Nairobi. This would not be the first time that Black people from the Americas have relocated to Africa. In the 1800s, an organization called the American Colonization Society moved 16,000 free African Americans to Liberia. This gave way to an Americo-Liberian elite that at times had bad relationships with native inhabitants. Now the vision is different. It's about collaboration and connection. If done right, it could be a whole new chapter for the diaspora's return to Africa.
Kenya is a pretty new destination for diaspora returnees, so when they arrive, it is up to them to seek out their roots. Ghana, on the other hand, has made homecoming part of their national brand. They are the first country in Africa to do so through what's called the Year of Return initiative. For more on that, here's my colleague Kaya.
In 2019, Ghana kicked off the Year of Return, inviting the African diaspora to reconnect with their roots. And wow, did they respond. Over 1 million people came to Ghana that year, most arriving from the US and the UK. It was a homecoming like no other, filled with emotion, discovery, and celebration. The president at the time, Nana Akufo-Addo, said that since Ghana was once a key transit point in the transatlantic slave trade, the country felt a responsibility to welcome anyone who could trace their ancestry to Africa. Since then, more than 1,000 have made Ghana their new home, drawn by a mix of emotional connection and opportunity. To support the diaspora looking to invest in Ghana, the government at the end of 2019 launched a Beyond the Return, a program designed to attract investment from returnees and boost the economy. While the influx of hopeful Afro-descendants has brought new business, some locals are concerned that it's driving up the cost of living for everyday Ghanaians. Even with the worries, Ghana is working to ensure that the Year of Return is seen as more than just a moment in time. Recently, the country granted citizenship to 524 individuals from the diaspora, the majority of whom were Black Americans. This marked the largest single group to be granted citizenship since the initiative was launched.
Ghana's homecoming initiative is sparking a big debate. Are the returnees helping the economy or taking opportunities away from the locals? We asked you this very question on our Instagram, and here's what you had to say. We kickstart with Christy Dede that says, Africa as a whole needs sustainable initiatives geared towards the future we want to see on our continent, not activities and initiatives that exclude the locals. One more comment from Ojonukwa says, my earnest prayer is that this movement fosters positive action, cultural exchange and growth for the African continent and beyond. Thank you very much for your comments. This is a great starting point for this week's street debate from Accra, Ghana's capital. Our panel, featuring both experts and locals, share their thoughts and insights on what it takes to build stronger connections between the two groups.
Hello and welcome back to the 77% Street Debate. This week we are back in Ghana's capital of Accra. Now, 400 years ago, the first women, men, and children forcibly stolen from this continent arrived on the other side of the Atlantic in America. Fast forward many years later, and the government, the modern government of Ghana, is saying to its international descendants, come back home. But what does that integration look like? And I want to start with you, Professor Kambon.
I went through what a lot of Black people go through, which is a trumped up charge, racism, and so forth. They don't ask you, are you a, citizen who's benefiting the community and so forth. So I decided that I was coming here to do my PhD. I did so. I'm doing pretty well. I've been installed as a traditional ruler. So this was given to me by the Nsumankwa Hene, the overall spiritual head of all of the Asante people. It's about being accepted. It's about being respected. And those are things that you don't get under Donald Trump and the divided snakes of a murderer.
Wow, those are some very strong words that you've chosen to use. And I want to come to the Bradbys here, who are a couple. And, oh gosh, the couples here are always holding hands. Well, that's great. It's so cute. But they've also just joined a union, a lifelong union with Ghana. You got your citizenship yesterday. And there's something that the professor said here. Is this how you considered America, where you actually grew up?
We moved for our safety and our children's safety. It is unsafe in the States, no matter where you go, if you look like us. Getting out of the land of our enemy was priority number one, to make sure that no matter what we did to build a business or to simply just live the simple life, we will be protected in that.
Nakia, is this also what you think?
For me, even I think back when I was in school and doing university, I remember I used to go on my phone and try to find like an app to look at, to listen to radio stations in Accra, just to hear the language. And I remember one night I was just sitting there and I almost just cried. Just to not to know that this was taken from me.
You're shaking now as you have goosebumps everywhere. Actually,
because my great grandmothers These are the songs that they would sing. These are the languages that they would use, and we don't have them anymore. And it's even hard to explain like how that stealing of our identity impacts our hearts. And so when you see us celebrating, and when you see us happy to be in Ghana, it's because we're trying to heal that wound that was placed.
Okay. Thank you so much for being so honest and vulnerable with us. I appreciate that. So Adam and Charetta, you're raising two beautiful children here. How has that experience been for you, and what are some of the greetings so far?
You know, in the States, we lived a very isolated lifestyle because of safety. You want to go out, you want to take your kids to the park to play, but when you do, other kids spit at them. That is an experience that my son had at the playground on more than one occasion. And so we lived a very isolated life. So to be here and to be free and to see my kids be able to be joyful and that not be a crime has been a very, very beautiful thing.
Okay, I really love how beautiful this is sounding, and I'm just going to throw a little bit of pepe in here. So I want to know from the people at the back, anybody, if you got a chance, are you taking the plane to get out of Ghana? Let me see by show of hands if your answer is yes. When you hear these people come and say, hey, this is a beautiful country, we need to reinvest back on the continent, how does that make you feel?
I feel it's because they have money, that's why they're coming back home. But for me, I want to leave the country because the economy here is very bad.
Okay. Let me hear one more person at the back.
I would love to leave the country. Like, just as they are saying, when they were coming, they came with money, which is making their life comfortable. But we in the country, people are struggling on the street. If such person get opportunity, in fact, the person will leave the country.
Prof, what do you make of it when you hear that the local population here already has an assumption that you're wealthier, that there's an income disparity inbuilt?
I had translators coming from the University of Ghana at a conference that I just had. And we hired them to teach Chi. They had two students. From the two students who were paying them, they were able to get enough money to pay their entire master's degree for 1 year. And that was a message that they learned. There's someone in the world who wants any skill that you know how to do, and they're willing to pay you richly to do it.
Let me ask Jeff what he thinks here, because he is swallowing hard. I don't know if you think this is great advice or if you see it as somewhat condescending. What are your views?
I heard my sister from behind me say that these people have money coming in. Yes, they may think that what they have is not enough for them as they come in here, but it brings a certain gap. But at the end of the day, once the prices go up, it doesn't come down. And we are the ones who suffer eventually. And that is a problem we are facing here today. Their presence is actually creating a problem for us economically.
Mr. Kwesi, obviously these emotional sentiments have the potential to become something else, xenophobia, Afrophobia. Are you just telling people come in, or are you putting in place strategies so that integration is sustainable and seamless?
When we started the year of return, the prices of goods more than quadrupled because people thought, hey, this is a year of return, we have an opportunity, let's milk it. But then we had to meet with people at the art center, with the tour operators, with hotels to explain to them that we are in this for the long term, that this is not just an open window for you to cash in. So when I talk about cultural integration, it's also looking at how do we make sure that people understand what we are doing and they are not taking advantage of our brothers and sisters who are coming back.
Yeah, Jennifer, because you're the latest arrival, if I could call you that, do you feel that because of your accent, sometimes people want to take advantage of you?
I would say that sometimes that is true, but it's not just true for African Americans. I think it's true for anyone that has an American or UK accent, even if they're Ghanaian. When we're talking about Ghana, Ghana is a country that has a population of over 30 million people. There are maybe 10,000 African Americans. We're an extreme minority. So I think that sometimes we're used as a scapegoat, and that is misplaced.
Okay, but what I'm hearing is that black we may be, but our bank accounts surely are not the same. Let me find out from Jeff how he feels hearing all these sentiments, because these are now your countrymen and women. Are you aligned with their values?
We are happy they are here, and would wish that we can coexist with them without having any problem whatsoever. If we see our brothers and sisters, irrespective of even the color, even if it's a white person coming to buy something, let the pricing be as it is. You understand? And maybe governments and the state agencies need to establish some kind of price control regimes so that everywhere you go, the prices will be the same.
Okay, you wanted to say something to me earlier.
We try to shop in our neighborhood. And because we are new and because we don't speak the language that well yet, we're learning, but the prices get hiked up. And so then we are forced to go somewhere else. to spend our money. And we would prefer to spend it in our neighborhood, but they're hiking the price up because we're new, they don't know us yet. But it makes it harder for us when that happens to us. Yeah. It's unfair.
Okay,
but can I say something? Yeah, sure. You know, you got to really understand culture to understand people. You know, when you come to Ghana.
But people is culture.
Yes, but when you come to Ghana, chopping is part of the culture. So it's important for us to start to look at culture and then influence culture in a way where we can bridge the difference and then we can progress as one.
The journey has now brought you here, and given everything that you've heard, what do you think it's going to take from everybody here to stop saying them, the diasporans, the Ghanaians, into we, the Ghanaians?
I'm not coming with a successful business or a retirement. We didn't come here to make money stretch. We came to contribute. Yeah. So the amount of money that you guys think we have, at least us two,
we don't.
We do not have.
Okay, but what about people who go out and make it and make some things of themselves?
That's a very small percentage. And of course they're going to show you that on television. That's a very small percentage. And of course that's what they're going to show you.
All right.
But like she said, you go there, it is not as cushy as you think. Great, you get a fancy job before you get the police gun you down before you even make the money. That is a reality.
I just want to close with Prof because we started with you. Answer the question for me. How do we go from them, the diasporans, the Ghanaians, to we?
So I think conversations like these are very much necessary. Even Ghanaians, when they go travel to places like the U.S., they're told don't hang out with the black people because they're all drug dealers, because they're all gangbangers, because they're all this, that. And, you know, they'll say, oh, Africans are all poor. Yeah. The one who benefits from the problem is most likely the one who caused the problem in the first place, and we're the ones who can solve that problem.
Wow, thank you so much. Yeah. So there are a lot of things that this debate was not. It was not about confirming whether or not the people who've returned are African. That was never in question. They were, always have been, and always will be. This debate actually affirmed the words of Kwame Nkrumah right there, the doctor. He is not African simply because he was born here, but to be African is to have Africa born in you. Thank you for watching.
Thank you, Edith, and the panelists. That debate reminds me of an African proverb. If you want to know the end, look at the beginning. And for many, reconnecting with your roots has helped them trace their ancestry and even build a home in Africa. Now let's head over to Sierra Leone to look at a filmmaker who also went home. Adenike Hamilton is trying to reshape her country's narrative. Check it out.
The piece that's holding Africa back is the diaspora, and we that were born in Africa and that left. Missing part of what's wrong with your country is you. It's basically a gaping hole. My name is Adenike Hamilton. Most people call me Nike. I'm a Sierra Leonean American. I'm a recent returnee back to Sierra Leone. I am a storyteller. I'm a filmmaker. I'm the founder of Third Culture Kid Productions. I left Sierra Leone when I was 5 as a refugee. I moved to the Gambia, where I lived for 2 years before resettling at the age of 7 in the United States. I remember moments. I remember when the war happened. I remember getting ready to leave, and we actually left by boat. So when I first moved to the States, it was tough because whenever they heard that you were Sierra Leonean, this was during the time of the Civil War in Sierra Leone, so everything was Blood Diamond. Oh, child soldiers, are you a child soldier? And they say it so candidly, and it almost becomes a moniker that you wear on your neck. And so that was the first kind of time I had to grapple with my identity. There were a number of things that inspired me to come back. I went to this event called Africa Chop House. The American ambassador for the AU, Arakana Koi, she gave a talk on why the missing piece of Africa, the piece that's holding Africa back, is the diaspora, and we that were born in Africa and that left. And she just gave a very moving speech. She said, you Africans that are always saying, this is wrong with Africa, do you not know that the missing part of what's wrong with your country is you? It's basically a gaping hole where you're from, and it's never going to be healed unless you make an effort to reunite with your countries. At that point, I had already started my production company, in New York. I'd registered it and I'd been doing little things. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to figure out how to just move back. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to work out, but I'm just going to try. I didn't want Sierra Leone to only be known as the Ebola place, the Blood Diamond place, the war place, the child soldier place. I wanted to just tell a different kind of story about Sierra Leone.
If you haven't checked out our Homecoming series, what are you waiting for? Head over to our YouTube channel for inspiring stories from Kenya, Sudan, Rwanda, and Ghana. The short features highlight Africans from the diaspora who are breaking barriers and creating new industries. So be sure to give them a watch. Now it's time to unwind. Let's go back to Ghana, where a shoemaker is crafting one-of-a-kind shoes from jeans and car tires.
1, 2, buckle my shoe. I welcome you to another episode of My Hustle. Today, we are diving into the world of creativity and sustainability. And guess what? I'm live in Takoradi at Koliko, where I will be learning how to use recycled materials to make a shoe like this. Are you guys ready for this? Let's go there!
I'm Peter Kweku Anori, the founder and the CEO of Koliko Wear. This is my hustle.
Mr. Peter P.
Wow.
Peter P.
Samson. Charlie, what's up?
Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you, man.
All right, without wasting your time, what does it take to be an eco-friendly shoemaker?
What it takes to be an eco-friendly shoemaker, Samson, I want you to learn it practically. So from here, I'll take you around, then we'll move to the workshop.
And do you think it's something I can learn in a day?
A smart guy like you, partnering with Koliko, everything is possible. We are going to grab a few raw materials that we will use in making our shoe. Waste. Almost 20 million tons are being dumped in Africa every year.
Are you serious?
Yeah, a lot of them come to Ghana.
Wow,
wow. And most of the time, we are not able to consume all.
What kind of shoe are we making today?
So today, we are making jeans shoes. So Koliko jeans shoe, like the one you are wearing. So we will grab a jeans, yeah, and also we will grab a base sheet, a textile sheet that we will use to do our lining.
Peter, are we done?
No, we are not done. I want to take you to one dump site so that you know the reason for we coming to the market to help rescue this material before it's too late. The reason why Koliko started with what we are doing is because of this. Here, you can see a whole land, the whole parcel of land here is destroyed by the waste we make. Here, we try to rescue the textile waste by visiting the second-hand clothing market to buy the waste one there before they end up coming here. You are my apprentice, you have to pick. Yes, I have to pick it because you are going to cut them. Wow, I can make a shoe. And from where? Where are we going next? From here, you are driving straight to the workshop. Because you are making pair. Pair means two. So if you trace or if you mark one, you are supposed to mark it two.
Oh, okay,
you get it.
okay, I get
so that you can get the left and the right.
Right. Am I doing it right?
Perfect.
Good. Damn.
So the next process is the gluing process. Okay. So gluing, so we are going to glue the inside.
Oh, okay.
Because after, when you make the shoe, this place would come out.
Journey of 1,000 miles.
Yeah. To
you begin with your soul.
A soul. Yeah. And not just a good soul, but a sustainable soul. So sustainable soul that we are using is car tie. Okay. Why? One may ask, why car tie? As we went to the dump field, you saw how the ties were being disposed. And all these things too, they take longer years before they decay. So we thought it was like, why don't we use car tie, cut it into pieces like you can see.
Listen, you were once a banker. How do you move from banking to shoemaking?
I traveled out, I came back to Takoradi, Western region. I met an old friend who was already into shoemaking, who was folding up. So I thought it was like, why don't I partner with the little resource that I've gathered from bankers. The next step now is, now the sole has been glued, the upper part too has been glued. Yeah. I'm just supposed to fix it together.
Correct.
So let me just put it on.
Okay. Then gently.
Gently. And now we take it to the machine.
Oh, okay.
And press it. Wow. So with the pressing, can direct you.
Exactly my size. I love this. Thank you very much, Collis.
Thank you very much.
I'm so grateful, man. And thank you very much for this gift.
You're welcome.
Who could have thought that a beautiful shoe such as this can come out of trashed materials.
It's sadly already time to wrap things up. We've heard remarkable stories from returnees about their homecoming journeys. But a key takeaway is that homecoming initiatives should spark both growth and cultural exchange for Africa. The discussion does not end here, so head over to our social media pages. We always want to hear from you. That's it from me. Until next time.